Hey everyone, it's Total here again. This is going to be my last video in my Legion overview series. We're about a week before 7.0 drops on live, and I'm not really sure when beta is going to shut down, so we're going to get this one over with now. This one's going to be about your order hall. I've already done one of world quests, on gearing, on Suramar, and so now order hall is the last major thing left to cover. And you can check out on my channel for the other videos if there's anything else that you're confused about for Legion. So let's get right down to it. Order halls are, I mean, you could kind of call them like garrisons, but they're not also really not like garrisons at all. Every class has their own order hall. This is the beautiful priest one here. It's beautiful. Eridar, Durani stuff. But, it's mostly just a giant city-like hub. There's not a whole lot to actually do inside of it. Like on your garrison, you have like your mine and your garden, and you're like placing buildings in different places. This is just a big town-like area basically. You can see everybody else here. They're all priests. We're all priests here. We're all happy little priests. Nobody else allowed. And you kind of just access these through Dalaran. Like, you should have an icon for where the portal is to go to your class hall. You'll automatically be taken here and will be set up and everything through the intro series to Legion, all of the introduction quests and everything. So it'll be introduced to you wherever yours is, just kind of automatically. You don't have to do anything. So I'm just going to kind of go around the order hall and talk about the different things that are involved with it. The first major thing that you'll do with your order hall, this is like the only thing that is absolutely required that you have to do if you ever want to play your character in like anything other than LFR or random heroics, and that is your order hall campaign. Now, you'll start with some quests. They will be marked as legendary quests, so you'll know that those are the ones that you're after. And they'll be labeled under your class in your quest logs. Like, I have a category here that says Priest. Those would be the important quests. They always come from your order hall. You get new quests at level 101, 103, and you will probably be 110 before you can get the 110 quests. There's a basic structure of the campaigns. They're a bit different throughout the different classes, but basically you do a couple quests at first, you get some new followers, and I'll talk a lot more about the follower system at the end, because it's very different from Warlords. But it is involved in the campaign, so you can't just ignore it. You do have to do some of it. So you do some quests, you get some new followers. There's usually some kind of story going on with your particular class, and at some point they're kind of they're separated into distinct stages. There's about 4 different stages. There's the 101 area, which will be some solo quests, maybe some dungeons, and usually ends with like a follower quest that takes maybe an hour or 2 or 4 hours or something. And then you get more at 103, which are more quests, maybe another dungeon quest or something. But you can kind of do all those solo except for the dungeon part, and you can generally do those like in a single day. And then they all involve some kind of period of time gating, where you can't actually finish it all at once, kind of like the Legendary Ring stuff from Warlords or Mists of Pandaria before that or anything. And we're all familiar with time-gated quests. Those usually involve something like, you'll go get these items from follower missions that it takes like a day for it to come back, and you need 5 of them or something. So then it will take you like 5 or 6 days to actually finish that quest. And so that one comes at the end of your 103 section. Not every class has one of these, I think. Some of them are a little different, like just doing a lot of dungeons or something. But anyway, at the end, so about a week after after you're done with everything else, you'll finally finish your first time gate. And then you'll enter the 110 portion, which is usually a bunch of one-time quests. Takes about, I don't know, maybe an hour for most classes, and then you'll hit the second major time gate, which is the last one, which is usually some kind of preparation for the final scenario of the campaign. Some of them I know, like druids, you have to go do like 50 world quests, of which you only get like 15 a day, so the priests, of course, have another mission requirement where you have to get more stuff from your followers. Some of them you have to donate some order hall resources, which, again, there's a new resource currency that fuels different stuff with your order hall. And almost all of them you have to donate some kind of profession material or something. So after a few days of doing all this, then you get to do a final epic scenario, finish your campaign questline and everything, and everybody's happy. Okay, so why do you care about all that? Why can't you just ignore that? Well, this is your artifact. Its eye level is controlled by relics that you slot in it, so this adds 36 item levels to my weapon. This adds 43 item levels to my weapon, this adds 35 item levels to my weapon. If you haven't completed your campaign yet, this third slot is locked. Yes, that means that you cannot make your weapon like 40 item levels better. So that's kind of a big deal. That means that you're just like permanently super far behind for your character until you finish that. So that's like the most important thing in the entire expansion for you to get done on each character right away. You don't have to do it for each spec, it's just once you have one character, it unlocks it for all of your weapons on that character. But you do have to do them. Like, you can't ignore it at all. It's really bad to do that. So that's the big thing with the Order Hall. After that, everything else is somewhat secondary, but there's some important stuff to do, and I'll go towards the ones that are in kind of what I think is their order of importance. So over here, I have a artifact knowledge work order person. It goes artifact research notes. Read to gain new knowledge about your artifact, increasing the rate at which you earn artifact power. So these are work orders similar to Warlords of Draenor. They cost 500 resources apiece. At the start of the expansion, they'll be about 5 days each. So, I mean, that's like one world quest every 5 days. It's really easy to keep this going. You do have to do a quest to unlock this, which you can't get until you're 110. But it's really simple. You just go around the world and you collect a couple books from places, and then you have to go run Black or Cold, whatever, and then you get your knowledge work order. This is something you want to do like the first day that you're at 110. This should be your very first stop. And then you just kind of want to keep this going forever. This is beta. I'm lazy, so I have no resources left. You can see, like, I'll open my world quest real quick, and it's like, 675 resources from there. 785 from there, so 500 is not a lot. But you do always want to keep this going, because I'm at knowledge level 12, that's 1400% more artifact power. It's generally about 25% extra each level from the level before it. So it does ramp up very quickly. And it's basically impossible to get much further in your weapon without artifact knowledge. So you do always want to be doing these. That's very important. The other thing you want to keep an eye on are your class hall upgrades. So this is a very simplistic tree. This is kind of a customization option a little bit that replaces the idea of building and upgrading buildings from your garrison. And basically you just have 5 rows of upgrades and you get to pick one. And they're very simple things. So this is what used to be the bunker upgrade, which is you have a higher chance of getting upgrades from quests. Or I can pick my first mission of the day has a 20% more success chances. Simple things like that. This one I can go get that altar thing, and I get like a buff item or something, or my troops can be a little bit better. You know, it's stuff like this. The only important ones on here are if you have something like this. I don't know if every class has them. Again, there's 12 different classes now. It's too much for me to keep track of. But this is something that gives me work orders for weapons and equipment for my followers. These are basically like follower gear, like for warlords. This is very important because there aren't very many other ways to get this. So if you have something like this, you need to grab that. But other than that, none of the other choices are really that important. You can see down here most classes have one of these that's a free seal each week, so that's not bad. But what you'll notice is that these cost order resources to get. Cost order resources and time. So you can see 12,500 resources. It takes about 12 days to get that much. Maybe a little faster, maybe like 9 or 10 days. But basically, if you want to keep going with these upgrades, like this row took me 10 days to upgrade. And like this row was 7 days, this row was like 3 days. And they each cost more and more resources, which basically means you have to get resources every day if you want to keep on track for upgrading these. And then the very end, the very end is the big one, because the rest of these just don't matter. Like these are all irrelevant. Like I don't care about my followers or extra troops or success chance. Like that doesn't matter. This is what matters. Increases the number of legendary items you can equip by 1. So these are legendaries. You can just randomly find these anytime you're doing stuff in Legion. They're 895 items, and they have some pretty cool effects on them. But you can only wear 1 of them. And this dude allows you to wear 2 instead of just 1. So that is a massive deal. It takes, I believe it's, let's see, 3, 7, 10, 20, 22, 36. Takes 36 days total to get this extra legendary thing. Oh, sorry, no, 36. That's wrong. 3 plus 10, 20, 32, 46 days. And so that'll be about a month after the first raids open up. But this is a big deal. This is like the second biggest power increase you can get aside from unlocking your third artifact, your third relic slot. So this is something you always want to be working on. Again, this is beta, so I've been super lazy. I'm just not doing this. But on live, like you'll want to hunt down every resource world quest a day and do it. And by the end of this, you only do that for about a month and a half, and then you get this, and then there's very little else to spend resources on. You have your 1 every like 5 days to fuel your artifact knowledge, and then you also spend resources to do your follower missions, which again I'll get to that in a little bit. I'm just going to talk about artifacts real quick, because that is up here in your hall. These are your traits. This is where you spend and upgrade traits. There's a quest that tells you how to do this. I'm not going to explain it to you. You can just follow the quests. But you also respec here. If you want to respec your artifact, except it takes a lot of artifacts, 24,000. That's how much it takes to get the next trait. It is always costs as much as getting the next trait. So if you ever want to respec your artifact, well, now you're a trait behind. So you never want to respec your artifact, unless you really screwed something up. It's better to just roll with it than it is to try to shift it around, so you don't want to do that. You also access your artifact appearances here. You unlock different appearances through doing different things. Your second version is always from your campaign. You can see, whoa, camera bugged out a little. Yeah, you can see there are 2 different weapon models, so that's nice. And then there's some other things like this bottom row. These are all from PvP. There's this third line that are all like really challenging things. So you look at your appearance from there. And that's about it for artifacts. They're really not that complicated. Okay, this deals with the followers. Again, I'll explain that at the end. This is a vendor that might be a bit hard to find in some order halls, but this dude is responsible for your order hall class set. Now these are not good, really. Like, this isn't something you want to shoot for as like, oh yeah, I'm gonna gear using this. But you get these pieces would all be locked on another character. So like you can see, this one is still locked because I haven't reached Exalted with the Nightfallen. You get these different pieces through doing different things. Like I think you get your 810 helm by just getting to 110, and then you get one by like you get one for hitting Honored with every reputation. You get one for hitting Revered with 2 of them. One for getting a bunch of. It's a bunch of stuff. It tells you on the vendor if you don't have it unlocked what it is that unlocks it. But they're not very good gear. Some they might be useful the second you get them for a couple days, but you'll outgear them eventually. They do have these really cool effects, they just kind of make questing easier. But again, just better gear will be more useful than this. And then there's also this odd thing where you can upgrade the item levels of them. So we got 1,000 resources to get an 820 item. For reference, Heroics drops 825. So that's kind of a waste of resources, right? Well, then you can spend 3,000 to get an item from 820 to 830. You know how I just said that you need to get resources like every day to get your second legendary? Yeah, these cost resources. So you don't want to do these. Because getting an 10 item level upgrade on gear you're going to replace anyway is not worth delaying your legendary. And then for 6,000 resources, if you get Exalted with the Nightfallen, which will take about 3 or 4 months, you can get gear that's equivalent to Mythic Dungeons. Yeah, that's like 5 item levels better than LFR gear. So these upgrade things, ignore them. Just please do not spend your resources on these upgrades. It'll make everybody very sad, and it'll make you appear very silly. I'm just gonna try on this set real quick so you can see it. These are actually cool sets though. They're not lame. See, it's like woo, nice stuff. So it's good for like transmog and everything. But you do get the base pieces for free. Just don't upgrade them. Please, don't ever upgrade them. Unless you truly have nothing better to do with your life. We also got some target dummies. Those are kind of nice. And that's honestly about it in the order hall. Oh yeah, this big ass chest thing. This is your Mythic plus chest. So I explained how Mythic Dungeons work in my gearing video, but long story short, for the highest rank of Mythic Dungeon you've completed each week, you get this chest, and you open it, and you get some loot from it. So it tells you that. Complete a Mythic Keystone Dungeon within the time limit, and return next week to claim your reward. So that's what this big chest is. I don't know why it's here all the time. I would actually think it should disappear when it's not here, but whatever. So then we're going to go on to everybody's favorite topic, follower missions. You recognize this UI, don't you? Isn't this cool? But don't panic yet. Don't get PTSD. This is not Warlords. This is much simpler and much less required. So there were those missions I talked about for your campaign, where you do have to do some follower missions. Those are all before 110 levels. You don't have to worry about this eye level stuff of upgrading your followers. and then they usually just give you followers that are that level. Like, you know, I got this like 109 dude before I had to actually do quests that required, you know, follower level like 108 or something for the final part. So you don't really have to worry about it. But they are still kind of useful. The biggest thing that's actually really awesome is that instead of having to, like, you know, go get a barracks or something, everybody has access, whoa, that was weird, to a combat ally slot. And you can assign different dudes for combat allies. Now, be careful though, because not every combat ally is a bodyguard. Some of them do other things, like this one doesn't show her ability, but it's like a 5-minute cooldown that does an AoE. That's a big heal and everything, which is nice, but that's all it does. She doesn't actually follow you around. Same thing with Alonsis. He does something else. I don't know. Oh, it actually says on his thing. Okay, so yeah, your combat ally followers will have this over here. So he'll cast Searing Light sometimes, randomly. But it's by far best if you get an actual bodyguard. So I have 2 bodyguards. This one, Soul, he's a tank. Zabra is a Shadow Priest, obviously. And it costs 50 resources to place one there. But there's no cooldown on replacing or unplacing. But then again, there's not really much reason to change them out, really. Unless you just want to use this guy for a mission before you log off and then get him back when you log on or something like that. You know, whatever. So these guys are cool. The other thing is they get experience when you do quests. Anytime you have someone assigned as a combat ally. So you do always want to follow her as a combat ally, because then they'll get experience. And they get way more experience than you could possibly get doing these missions. So, like, you know, this gives 1,500 experience and 1,500 for being on the mission, so it's 3,000 total. For every single quest or world quest you do with a combat ally follower, they get 150. So, you know, I could spend resources and time and just send dudes off on an experience mission, or I could not do that. One of those is a better option. Ideally, you would actually just want all of your combat allies to be your followers. I haven't done that because, again, beta, I don't really care about optimizing. But it just makes them so much easier to level. And what you get by leveling is, yeah, they get to 110. You'll see that like, Soul is white, Alonsis is white. She's green. At green, they unlock their like second ability thing. We're all familiar with this system. But then they also have equipment slots, kind of like the Navy ships did. Except they actually do useful things, not just required to be their counters. So like this one, I gave her these boots that she has 20% more success chance on missions longer than 8 hours. That's really nice. And then, but the really awesome ones are the ones you can do on the combat allies. This guy, I have an item, I get 25 resources anytime I do any world quest, not just resource world quests. So this actually increases the amount of resources you can get over time. And there are higher rarities of these items. They give more. Actually, I think there's one that's 50. That's like a blue item. There's one that's like 100. Actually, that's like a legendary follower equipment thing. But yeah, those are really good. You get the first slot at blue, and you get the second slot at purple, which takes a really long time to get to purple, but that's okay because you'll have these for the whole expansion. And let me just go over how the counters work this time. So there's something really cool you might have noticed here before. You get bonus chance for every percent you have over 100. So I'll counter both these. Well, now I have 15% bonus. And you don't need to fill up all of the slots to send something out. I could just send this person out, and that would be it. Or I can add dudes. I have a 95% chance to get this thing, so this is kind of cool. It actually adds kind of a game aspect back to this. There is no master plan, totally optimized way to do this, because what you value for your bonus rolls, might change depending on what you're going after. Counters are also a little different too. So like this one, the counters actually do something. They have an effect on your mission. So the powerful one just reduces your success chance. There's also this cursed one where you don't get bonus loot no matter how high your percent chance is. So if I just counter this one and not the other one, you can see I have 100%, 0% for the bonus roll. I can add more dudes, and there's still 0 on the bonus roll, so I have to counter this one if I want the bonus. Or I can just send it like this and just complete the mission. That's fine. I don't have to counter this other one. And there's some other ones too that are kind of neat. Like one of them increases your mission cost. Like this guy. This is one of the raid missions. It costs 2,000 resources, or it costs 1,000. So this is kind of a big deal. These raid missions are actually really awesome because instead of just getting a bag that gives you an item for the entire raid, you get a quest item. The quest item will tell you to go into the raid and kill a boss. Like I have one right now to go kill Cenarius, and then I get a bag, and the bag gives you an item from that boss, not from the entire raid, or at least that's what I've been told. They have changed the name of the box, so I'm not sure anymore. But basically, instead of just getting an item from your mission, you have to go kill a boss, and then you get an item. So that's a very big difference. But also, the bonus roll on the raid quests or raid missions is an extra bonus roll token. So these you actually do definitely want to maximize your percent chance. I can get up to 140, so that I have a chance to get an extra. I have a chance to get an extra roll that gives me a chance at loot. That's layers of RNG, everybody. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. There's also dungeon things as well. So this is a dungeon quest. The bonus roll for those is not nearly as cool, it's just extra rep. But I have one of these as well that I'll show you for Vault of the Wardens. It will tell you to do the difficulty that I think it has something to do with your item level. For instance, the Cenarius quest I have is Raid Finder. That's because I got it when I was like below 840. Or maybe they use the old system where you have to clear the previous difficulties. I'm not sure. But those Mythic Dungeon ones are also really cool because that's just extra loot. We also have pets again. Corgi, that's nice. Pet charms for the bonus. Oh, so here's one of these also. One of the type of counters is a slowing one, which makes it take longer. Now, those are really interesting because that actually has no effect on your loot or your chance. I think you get a slight bonus chance for countering it. Yeah, you can see like I'm at 150 and I haven't even countered this thing. I could send this mission off and it would take a day, and I'm okay with that, really. Now, okay, so I've played with these guys a little bit down here, but I haven't really talked about them. These are your mooks. Like, they're expendable. You can see they have these little hearts. Everybody has two types of mooks. You have your cheap ones that they give like 15% chance, and then you have your expensive ones that baseline they give 30. They also have 3 health. Now each time you use one of these guys, it uses a heart. And so you can use the cheap ones twice. You can use the more expensive ones 3 times. Although there are some missions that have another type of counter. Let me see if I have one. Yeah, here's one. That will kill any of your mooks that you sent on this mission if you didn't counter it. So if I set up like this,
for your inner strength.
Okay, so I got this 158% chance to do this, but because I haven't countered this, these guys will just die. You can see because their hearts are empty, so it's telling you that they will die. These guys don't have any rarity or anything like that. They're just expendable. They're totally 100% expendable. You can just throw them away like garbage. Don't care. NPCs don't have feelings. So that's viable. I could do that. You could also set up like this for more chance, as well as just not getting my guy killed. So this kind of incentivizes setting your fights up properly. You can kind of maximize your results in a bit of a different way than just a generated automatic. This is what's the best. Because what's the best success chance is not necessarily the best way that you want to go about things, because it might utilize more of your actual followers, which would mean that you can't do as many missions. And one thing you might notice is that the gold is actually quite nice. 700 gold, and 375 bonus rewards. You get like 1,000 gold from this. Now the drawback is that these missions still cost resources, but there are no order resource missions that just give you more resources like there were in Warlords, and you don't have a daily cache either. You still only have the world quests as your source. So there is a finite amount, so you can't really just spam missions like you could in Warlords, because you just don't have the resources to do that. This is actually, these missions are the last thing you want to do. This is your resource dump. After you've taken care of your artifact knowledge over there, and your upgrades over there, and then you're like, okay, well, I can't really spend any more resources at the moment, let me just do some missions. Or you might just do the really important ones, like the raid ones or something. These like gold ones, they don't matter. Again, we have item level things that just increase the item level. Instead of 2 slots this time, it's just 1 straight item level. Might as well just call it gear score at this point. But yeah, so these missions are not very important. At the end of the day, there's just one you have to do, and I didn't have to do any elaborate setup. These followers are all static. You can't change their abilities or anything. Again, except for the equipment things. But it's not like you're just re-rolling and trying to get like perfect followers or anything. I just have this set up. I didn't do anything like important to get this, and I can just set them up like this. And if I had a bit better equipment, I could get a better chance. But I already have way beyond 100% chance to get this raid mission, and the missions just don't get any harder than this, really. So it's a very easy system. It's very simple, and you just don't have to engage with it nearly as much as you did in Warlords. It's something you check on occasionally. And then you go make new dudes here. So like you can see these more expensive guys, they're 85. The other ones, they're down there. They're 20 resources apiece, so they're really cheap. Yeah, this is a very simple system. You don't need any kind of add-on to manage this. I don't have one. It's just, they light up over here which ones are useful, and
Search deep for your inner
Let's talk
strength.
again soon.
and whatever. So that's follower missions. Oh, you do get all of your followers through your campaign. So you can see I have every single follower. I did not have to go out of my way whatsoever to get any of these. There's no upgrading when you get them, and nothing like that. It's a totally static system. The only difference is that you can only have 5 active at a time, and you will generally get 8 total. So you can kind of pick a couple of them to sit on the bench, and that's it. And then one of them is usually engaged as your combat ally. So you really only have like 4 followers to play with. Like I said, it's super simple. Anyway, so that's order calls. Not much else to those. I've really enjoyed this overview series. It actually helped me clarify a lot of things going to make these. Just kind of looking up what was going on before them, everything like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys enjoy Legion when it comes out about a month and a half from now. See you all.